Here is Dudley Dickerson, and he is a 5-year-old TB gelding by Union Rags. He's 16 hands, and he is just a really cute, sporty little package. But he is sporty without being hot at all. In fact, this is like one of the very, very few horses that I ever ride with spurs. And I'm talking teeny tiny spurs, like quarter-inch spurs. It's not like I'm out there riding with big spurs, but I never ride with spurs. And I can't remember the last time I sat on a horse and I was just like, yeah, like I really could use some little spurs to help get this horse going forward. So he makes a really cute, sporty package. He's very uphill, very balanced, great shape, but he is really quiet. I mean, you got to be using your leg and clucking and all the things. He is not terribly motivated to be exceptionally forward thinking, which I think makes him super amateur friendly. So, anyway, this is his I believe his third post track ride, and he went out to the field today. And he's not been out here before. This is his first time out here, and it's a weekday afternoon, which means that there's tons of huge trucks and things coming down the road all the time. So it's very loud, and it gives me, I have post traumatic stress about riding out here next to the traffic. But he was phenomenal, and I spooked a couple of times, but he did not. He was excellent about ignoring all the traffic. He was great about leaving the barn, not being able to see the barn or being far from all his friends. So really good head on his shoulders about all of that. And the main thing that he's working on is that he wants to lean on his right shoulder. That's like his big young horse thing that he needs to spend most of his time addressing. So we went to the right a bunch today because I just really want to start to get him lateral, moving off my right leg a little bit. And he really did. He really had some great steps actually where he did really yield off my right leg and start getting the notion of what it means to take a little bit of a leg yield step. And what I started doing here was at the top of the hill here where you're along the road, I started cutting this corner early, and you'll see here in a second that I'm totally off the fence line. I come to the inside of this log, and then I'm just asking him to take little tiny yield steps off my right leg, keep the right bend, and come over to the fence line. And he did that probably a half a dozen times, and he had some really good steps, some really nice right bend where he really was totally holding himself up off my right aids, and he felt phenomenal. And I think now that I'm watching his video back, he really looks the part also. So, really good boy. I was really happy with that work today. Definitely his best flat work to date by a lot. I think we come up the hill again here and repeat that one more time. Super good boy. I thought that was even better the second time. The nice thing about riding out in the field is that there is so much space. I mean, it's quite a large field. So there's so much room to go straight without having to worry about turning. So it really is nice for introducing that sort of thing. So the funny thing that he did today was in the ring, I haven't been able to get him to pick up the left lead canter. He always wants to pick up the right canter because, of course, he's leaning on the right shoulder, so that makes sense. But I asked him to canter out in the field, and he just popped right into the left canter, even though we were going to the right. But I was thrilled with that. Change is progress. And so he gave me a different answer to my question, which means that, he's thinking, he's ruminating on the topic, he's trying to answer the question. So I was thrilled that he picked up the left lead. And actually, he did it a second time before we actually got the right lead. So that was very good. And so then we just did like a little cut across the center of the field, changed directions, and then we had a nice little canter around to the left. This horse has a phenomenal canter. Super uphill, balanced, especially to the left, just very easy, natural self carriage. So then we went back to the right, So this is now the third time I've asked him to canter, and then he did a very nice right leg canter transition. So that was very good. And then this first time coming down the hill to the right, the right's a little bit harder for him, of course, because working on getting off that right shoulder. So he sort of came unbalanced, had a little bobble, broke. And then at the bottom of the hill, we got the right canter again. So then in the canter to the right, I'm thinking the same exact thing as I was in the trot. Again, I cut that corner at the top of the field, and I'm just asking him to start to get this notion of, I'm not asking for perfect leg yield steps. I'm just asking for him to consider the idea of when I use my right aid that I want him to start to move away from my right leg. And I thought that was really good work there at the top of the hill. I did a better job of being prepared this time to help him set the balance as we came down the hill. It was much better. We kept the canter. We kept a fairly balanced canter. I had actually, in this ride, in the back of my head, I had thought that maybe he would pop over some logs today, but it was really warm this afternoon in Maryland. It was about 80 degrees, and he still got a little bit of winter fuzz. So he was quite warm after we got done with this flatting part of the ride. So I just decided we would save the logs for another day. I didn't want to overdo it, and I really felt like he did the best flat work by a lot that he's done, and doing it in a whole new environment out in the field. So I didn't want to push it. So I think we did one more loop here around to the left because we've mostly been working to the right. And then I called it a day, and I was just so happy with him today. He's just such a talented little horse with a great brain.